What's happening? Dustin here with Dustin's Customs, and today I'm going to talk about something that I've been seeing all over the place, and maybe you guys have too. There's an upflux of these vehicles on the internet. They are everywhere. They're getting more and more popular, and that is the 99 to 04 Mustang, the V6, the GT, the Cobras, rather known as the New Edge. They are all over the place, and frankly, I love seeing these cars all over the place. There's an upflux of creators out there. The creators that probably made this vehicle most popular would be your Derekbaran Productions, Mustang Lifestyle, Dustin SVT, Horseplay Motoring has a ton of stuff out there, helpful information. He kind of gets down in the nitty gritty. Derekbaran does more of like the show car, really clean builds, you know, top to bottom, all the nice things. Mustang Lifestyle kind of does all these different crazy builds for speed, really cool street cars that you can just drive around. Of course, we all live in Florida, or most of us live in Florida. Cars that 700, 1,000 horsepower with air conditioning, really cool Mustang builds. And all these guys have got newer Mustangs and older Mustangs. They've switched from all the way from Fox bodies to S550s, S197s. There is just a boatload of content out there. But in the past year, I would have to say, I live in what they call Volusia County, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna area, and there has just been a wild amount of New Edge Mustangs. I see them everywhere, and I'll be driving down the road and I'll see my wife and I'll be like, oh, there's a New Edge Mustang. And if she sees one, she'll look at me and say, let me guess, there's a New Edge Mustang. And it's amazing how many people out there are driving them. They were rather cheap a couple years ago. You could get a GT, a clean GT, for about $5,000. Now a clean GT is going from anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 to $12,000. The Cobras are at just an extremely high value right now. They're probably somewhere in the $30,000 range. Just a couple years ago, you get one for $15,000, $20,000, but they're all the way up in the 30s. GT 500s, that's a totally different body style. We're not talking about that today, but they're starting to rise in prices. All these specialty Mustangs are really starting to gain their value because they are starting to be antiques, collectibles. A lot of people like me had them when you were in high school. I drove one to prom a couple times. The car that I still have to this day. And people in my generation and the younger generation love the body style. They have a lot of memories about them. Maybe the younger generation seeing these cars driving around and maybe they're just a little too far out of their grasp for price range, but now the prices came down, the newer generation's getting in them. Some of them are, you know, beat down. Some of them are in amazing condition. There's still some one-owner cars out there. Mine is still a one-owner car. They're out there. You can find them. There's Celine's, Roush's, the Cobras. I mean, there's just a laundry list of different New Edge or 99 to 04 Mustang GTs that you can find. They're all over the place. And these creators, they go out there and they build these cars, and maybe some people are getting tired. They want to see the retrofits. Maybe they want to see, you know, the newer things, but you know, people are starting to build these two valves. Back in the day, you never really heard of a built two valve. Now people are putting rods and pistons in the GT motors. People are doing all sorts of things. There's just a number of styling cues and performance mods that you can do to these cars, and it's great to see them out there, and it's wonderful. I'm driving around here, Volusia County, Daytona Beach area, and I see at least two New Edge Mustangs a day. I mean, they're just literally everywhere. It is pretty awesome. Guys out there like Dustin SVT out there giving stories about all the New Edges in his area and around that he's seen or heard of is a pretty awesome deal. I love watching and listening to those stories and hearing about the journey that some of these cars have taken. Derekbaran Productions has made one of the cleanest cars out there, and I think other people have seen how clean the cars can be and what you can do to them, and it's a pretty good project to get into. The prices for the projects it's not that expensive compared to newer stuff. And since they're a little older, some people, you know, they're not afraid to make it their own. Instead of having a car that you buy that maybe you have a loan on or something, you can get these cars rather cheap. And if you do get a loan, if you can, I don't know, the interest rate would probably be crazy on an old car like that, but maybe you're less likely to hesitate before you start on one of these cars to make it your own than you would a newer car, which I think is one of the reasons why these cars are becoming so popular. Mustang Lifestyle did a thing a while back where he built a car called Turdzilla, and that kind of jump-started between him building the Turdzilla and Derekbaran Productions building Blue 2 valve. They kind of just blew up, and now they're everywhere. The prices have skyrocketed, and whether or not that the prices of these cars have went up because of these influencers, it's hard to say, or just all of a sudden. But people see them, they look great. The styling cues of the new Edge is out there, and I think it's a timeless body for these cars, and I think they're here for a long time to stay. And it's great seeing these cars drive around, and they're just everywhere. I seen one of them today going to get an oil change in our 21 F-150 5-liter, and I seen a new Edge. I mean, it's just freaking awesome. And I do see, you know, oh, I see one here and there, and it's the same one, but more than often it's a different car that I'm seeing. I've Mach 1s, a few Cobras around. The other day I went to Home Depot and there was a black Cobra. Just a couple days ago I went and I'm driving to a job to tear down a house, and there's a Mach 1. I mean, it is really cool. I'm glad people are getting into these cars, and I hope it continues, and I hope to see more and more out there. If you look on YouTube and you type in 9904 Mustang GT New Edge Mustang, and then you click the little icon and go to upload date, that way it's the most recent uploads, you'll be surprised of how many separate Mustang channels, New Edge 9904 Mustang channels are out there. Horseplay Motoring, he's in there. He's got an SN95, same deal, same car, a little different body panels. But if you want to learn how to work on these cars, you know, he's got some projects going on. Horseplane Motoring, 4.6 Chris, they are SN95 cars, but everything carries over what they've done with their nitrous builds to the New Edge car. You know, there's all kinds of people out there that have made this car what it is. Reaper GT, he's out there with a supercharged 2-valve, shredding it, clean looking car, steady working on these cars. Just great content is out there for these Mustangs. If you want to learn what you're doing, you want to learn how to work on one, you can build these things from top to bottom. I mean, it is out there, you can find it. But I do think the upflux in YouTube creators has made these vehicles more popularized, which in entail has raised the value of these vehicles. It is pretty cool to see all these cars out there. I'm glad people are enjoying them, and I hope that more and more people can enjoy them and keep them from the impound lots. I mean, they're pretty much a Fox body, same suspension. The only difference, I don't know if some of you guys know, some of the bolt sizes are different for like rear control arms. The older ones have smaller bolts, things like that. Front suspension, smaller bolts on the old ones, just little details. But there is a lot out there, and a lot of these cars kind of tie together from the Fox body all the way to 2004. So for all you guys out there, you creators, and all you guys out there building a New Edge or SN95 car, it's freaking awesome. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I love seeing these things on the road. And go ahead and take a look around. You'll be surprised on how many of these cars are truly still out there. And more are starting to get driven every day. People are taking them out of their garages and selling them to the younger generations. These younger generations are getting on the wagon and building these cars. And it's pretty cool seeing some of these cars go fast and getting, you know, retro swaps and modernized, and people are putting coyotes in these things. So I just wanted to say, if you guys haven't noticed that these cars are out there and there's an uptick, and it's probably thanks to some of these Mustang creators why these cars have finally got noticed. They were kind of in the shadows for a while, and I couldn't believe it. I've sat here with the same car since I was in high school for 20 years. It's a 2001 Mustang GT, and I've done some stupid things building and rear mount turbo kit, front mount turbo kit, kind of learning on myself. I'm just like anyone else. I learned how to weld better on these cars. I learned how to work on these cars. I've had mine for a long time, and the first thing I ever did to the car in 2001, we had 3,000 miles, put a cold air intake on the car. I mean, there's just, you can find something, get a little throw to your sound out of them, put exhaust. It doesn't matter, you can make it your own. So it's great seeing these out there. It's great that these content creators, even with the new cars, are still taking these new Edge and SN95 cars and they're still building them. Whatever it may be, 2JZ swap, it doesn't matter. Look at Teeth and Turbo, got a big old LS swap in a new Edge. Cars out there running 8-second passes. Some of these new Edge cars are out there running 7-second passes. It is pretty cool. So take a look around. Like I said, I'm Dustin. This is Dustin's Customs. I have 3 new Edge cars. 2 of them are in parts. One of them's got a turbo. It's sitting in my front yard now. We'll get back on that one later on. But take a look. You'll see them out there. It's pretty cool what these creators have done for these cars. They're out there all over the place, and I think everybody is enjoying them. I'll see you later. Bye.